Guys, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Um, Want to give all praises, glory, and honor be to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob for another Sabbath day of rest, man. This is your brothers from the Hopeful Elect coming at you with another Sabbath class or Sabbath lesson or Sabbath discussion, Sabbath breakdown, whatever you want to call it. Um, we just here to, fellowship with the people virtually and edify if at all possible. So today's topic is the covenant of brotherhood, right? And it goes into um, a lot about what we been seeing over the last few weeks in Israel, man. Before we get into that, though, I do want to give um, honors to brothers and sisters who are, putting in the work right now, laboring. Honors to brothers and sisters who are, keeping the feast days, keeping the Sabbath days, keeping the, what I'm saying, the anointed days, the required days to be kept in holiness, right, and in righteousness. I want to give honors to those striving to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments in spirit and in truth, right, through our faith in who the world calls Jesus Christ. Um, we strive each and every day to be better than we were the day before. So I want to give honors to those who are out on the highways and byways as of right now, those who will be going out later, most high willing that people be edified. But in all things, I pray that brothers are safe and protected, right? Um, but once again, this lesson comes from it's been a crazy last few weeks in Israel. I would say that. I would say that. That's what kind of made me think about this lesson. I had something different, but couldn't find what I needed at what I'm saying to support. So had to go in a different direction and what more fitting, what I'm saying, than to talk about the covenant of brotherhood, right? Like we mentioned, been the last few weeks in Israel. Just for starters, you had the situations with the situation, and I'm not going to speak on the situation in depth, but just touching on it briefly, the situation with uh, the brothers from Believers of the Way and IUIC, and how the brothers from Believers of the Way felt some type of way about it, publicly showed their, disdain for certain actions. Then we had our brothers, well, the leader, Bishop Nathaniel of IUIC, respond with posting a picture that caused controversy in Israel, which I think was a great thing to do, what I'm saying, for the sake of fellowship, brotherhood, and unity, right? You could say the same thing about all the camp beef that has been talked about and been going on for the last month, 2 months, however long, uh, in Israel, right? The dividing of certain camps, brothers leaving certain camps pitting against each other, certain things coming to light about these organizations. Then you have situations like the other day where you have two, I guess you could say two respected people in the nation, right, having a discussion publicly about a certain topic, which was the new covenant. So all these things have been taking place, over the course of the last month or two, right? But nonetheless, all of it stems to, understanding the biggest thing about that, the covenant of brotherhood. So we're going to go in a little bit about brotherhood, fellowshipping, touching on some things, right? But more importantly, want us to focus on the important part of the message, which is the brotherhood itself. So, if brother, we could start with pulling the precept, Psalms chapter 133, right? I'm gonna read the staple precept, only because this is something that are all too familiar with, even before the truth, right? But this is something that I think, as well as people know this, and as well as people quote this is a scripture that gets highly overlooked. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. So I don't know who plan on sharing their screen, but if whoever could,
Trying to get it.
kind, kind. So if a brother could read, starting at Psalms chapter 133 and verse number 1.
Book of Psalms. You got it.
Con, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Right? Before you keep reading, let's start that over from the top. Read it one more time.
Psalms 133:1. You want me to read the parentheses?
Nah. Don't read the parentheses. I just want you to emphasize one word.
Behold.
Behold, right? Keep reading.
How good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Keep reading.
It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountain of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore.
So, so starting with Psalms 133, man, this is a cornerstone. I think this is a cornerstone precept should be a cornerstone precept for the nation. I feel as if every camp, congregation, organization, brotherhood, fellowship group, sisterhood group, whatever, I feel like all of this right here, Psalms 133, 1-3, should always be a key principle that people build their church or their congregation camp on, right? Because this is emphasizing the one thing that we should all emphasize in our lives, which is the brotherhood or the sisterhood, because at the end of the day, we're all one nation, right? We are all one nation of people that are striving to do the same exact thing. Wake our people up to the truth, keep the law, statutes, and commandments in spirit and truth through our faith to receive that salvation in that day that the Lord brings back the captivity or turns back the captivity of our people onto the other nations, right? This is what we should be striving to do, is to dwell together in unity, right? Because why? It's very good and very pleasant, right? Let's go to the book of not songs, but let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 25 and verse number 1.
25:1.
Yeah, the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25 and verse 1. Right. Because I want people to understand something. I wasn't going to read this precept for a couple more precepts later, but I'm just going to go ahead and bring it out right now through the Spirit, because it just flows.
This is the book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25 and verse number 1. And things I was beautified and stood up beautiful both before God and men.
So, Salakia, before he reads this, remember what it says. And stood up both beautiful before the Most High and men. Now let's keep reading.
The unity of brethren.
The what?
The unity of brethren.
The what?
The unity of brethren.
So let's start right there. The unity of brethren is something that stands up beautiful both before the Most High and men, right? So to merely see a lot of the things that over the course of the last few months that I've seen, and I know that a lot of others have seen, think about how not so beautiful it has been, right? Because one thing that's beautiful and stands up beautiful in the eyes of the Lord is the unity of brethren, right? What else does it mention?
A man and a wife that agreed together. No, the love of neighbors.
Khan. So
and
keep reading.
And a man and a wife that agreed together.
So 3 things that stood up both beautiful before the Most High man: the unity of brethren, the love of neighbors, and a man and a wife that agree together. These are the things. This is another cornerstone. I feel like a cornerstone precept should be for every camp, congregation, and organization, right? Because a lot of organizations, camp congregations, have married couples in there, right? And each and every person that's next to you, whether they be uh, standing on the line next to you, whether they be in the same camp, congregation, organization, or whether they be law-keeping Israelites, right, that made fellowship with another congregation, they are still represented as your neighbor, right? These are people that you always have to show love to, right? The children of Israel in today's time who are waking up to their true heritage, to the truth that has been that has been hidden and kept from us for hundreds and thousands of years nearly, right? This is something that we should all always strive to read, remember, and I guess you could say tattoo on our hearts, right? Because at the end of the day, this is all it's about. It's not about like the brother Azrael was going into on Thursday for our trumpets lesson. You know, we get caught up in the woodwork sometimes. Oh, I did this and you did that and I did this and but it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about all of us. We a team. You know what I'm saying? And that's a quote from the movie Stump the Yard when Brother DJ was getting in the selfish ways, right? But let's go to I want to go to a point real quick. Can you pull up that video that I asked you to pull? Because I wanted to talk about I guess you could say this, right? So we finna show an example of, I guess you can say, the unity of brethren or brothers dwelling together in unity. I'm finna show an example of that on the screen. And I think I want to show this not necessarily because I want to go into the topic of what brothers were discussing, more so just to see a portion, just a small portion, a small sample size of how that whole entire conversation went at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, and after one of the brothers had to get off because he had to go to work, right? So if y'all don't know, this is the brother from the ISUPK. I think the brother with the hair is Ka'aratazah, right? And the brother that's sitting next to him with the black shirt on is famously known as Captain Tazaria, right? Of the ISUPK, right? So these brothers, you know what I'm saying, are having they're on the live, right? They're having a live radio show and they're accepting callers to talk about any and everything, I'm assuming, right? But the start of the video, right? It's one brother at the start of the video. This is 20 minutes into the video, and then we have who everyone knows in Israel as Brother Hassad, formerly from Sakari, now the Genesis Israelites, pull up. So let's just see how this, I guess you could say, beginning or introductory to the discussion went. All right, you can play the video.
You know the sound is good.
Khan.
You bring the next person on.
Khan is good.
What's going on, Cap? Yeah, what's your please don't do me don't do the 5+5 thing with me and get me off of here.
What's going on?
Now, that brother was talking some jive mess. You talking about some jailhouse talk?
He had them little Wayne dreads that looked like
that was the Curse of Canaan.
Yeah, the dread.
I knew that was
That
it.
was the real Curse of Canaan.
Shapat said they look sick.
Them dreads was all over the place, man. But what's going on, brother? You got a question or a comment?
Yes, sir. I got a couple questions. I got like 20, 30.
So again, this is the beginning of the conversation, right? So clearly Hassad, he's not a part of the ISUPK, but however, he's going to their platform, to their show, submitting to their time frame and everything to simply have a discussion with a brother who's highly regarded in Israel, formerly known as Captain Tazaria, right? So far, it has been nothing but, shown love, I guess you could say, to an extent, right? Real quick, if you can pull up a preset real quick, can you pull up the book of Hebrews chapter 13 and verse number 1, right? Hebrews 13 and 1. The reason I want to go into these things again is to show the importance of brotherhood, right? The covenant of brotherhood, because these brothers are going to talk about a topic and we'll emphasize that a little bit more and read some more precepts. But all of these, I guess you could say, scriptures I'm asking to be read currently are scriptures to kind of help drill the point of what I'm making into. Brotherhood. The unity of brethren. Brethren dwelling together in unity, So Hebrews 13 and 1. And then we'll go back to the video for a brief stint.
Hebrews 13:1. Let brotherly love continue.
Let brotherly love continue, man. Again, that you can't make it no more clear than that, right? You can't make it no more clear. We got to let brotherly love continue, especially in these times, because there's so much division and confusion going on. It's almost like, it's intentional division being created, intentional, and I'm not going to speak for any camp. I'm just going to speak for, saying myself and as well as brothers for the hopeful elect, right? The thing that we need the most to rely on is the brotherhood, man. We need the community to help build up this nation. And it can't come by everyone saying, oh, well, we're not a part of you. You're not a part of us. So we don't fellowship with you. You don't fellowship with us. It's not going to come by, arguing, strife, vanity, scoffing, all these different things, right? The only way this is going to happen is if we always keep the main thing, which is the laws, statutes, and commandments. Our belief in the Jews, our belief in should we be keeping the commandments or not, and our belief in who the world calls Jesus Christ, the Messiah, right, to redeem us out of this captivity. Those three things should be the staple that brothers build their relationship off of. Someone can't be my brother if they don't believe that we shouldn't be keeping the commandments to receive salvation, because you're going to teach someone to go against the commandments because that's what you subscribe to, right? And that's what goes into Matthew 12, where Christ says, who is my brother? Who is my sister? Those who do the will of my Father, right? But at the same time, again, we have to go back to focusing on those things, right? All Israelite groups, for the majority that you see, and I'm a name drop, but like you see like WFI, you see GOCC, you see ISUPK, you see Genesis, you see Sakari, you see Anointed House of Saints, you see Sons of Thunders, you see the Hopeful Elect, you see New Wine Congregation of Israel, you see Only for Israel, you see all these different congregations, Believers of the Way, IUIC, GMS, House of Israel, the Servants, all of these different camps, congregation, organizations. What are some more that I'm forgetting? Iron Horn of Zion, the Light of Zion, Fire of God. There's a few I think that I'm forgetting to name, and if I'm forgetting to name these congregations, Salakia, but if I even left your camp congregation out, the point is still the same, that all of these congregations that we name are brothers that we have fellowship with, been around, encountered, right? And every single time we've been around these brothers, we do our best to kind of, show love and focus on keeping the main thing, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not about, oh, you believe this doctrine and I believe that doctrine. It's about, do you believe that we should be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments? Do you believe that we should be, keeping the feast and holy days? Do you believe that we are the real Jews? Do you believe that we should be following the example that the Messiah left for us to enter into the kingdom through our faith in him, right? And if you believe those things, everything else can be worked out on the back end, That's kind of how we take our approach to, fellowship to an extent. But I feel like every congregation, organization should have that rule in place, should have that to where it's like, we don't let certain things cause division, right? I understand people have followers and they say, well, they don't want to cause confusion. But the main thing is that we need to do things that promote the brotherhood to go, to come back together to an extent, right? As it prophesies in Ezekiel 37. But if you can play this clip real quick, and then I'll have you pause it at the same time again.
Okay.
It's okay. Depending, maybe it go a little shorter, maybe it go pause a little longer. But I know you didn't, for whatever reason, which I respect it. You didn't want to have a conversation with Deacon because of however you felt. But
I didn't say conversation. I said
a debate. Yeah.
Right.
So I just had a couple questions, and I don't want to. Before I do this, I don't want to build up any straw men. So I watched your video you made about the new covenant, and so just so I am understanding properly what it is that you're saying, are you saying that the old covenant is abolished?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that when Christ died, anybody that believes in Christ said his blood was for the New Testament, for the remission of sins.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're under Christ, you're in or under the New Testament. You're not forgiven under the old.
Pause that. So clearly you can see their discussion is about to take place about the old covenant and the new covenant, right? Which covenant are we under, right? So you might ask, like, what's the hopeful elect standpoint of our covenantal standpoint, right? What's our standpoint on which covenant that we're currently under? That's not the topic, right? The topic is the covenant that we're currently under is always and forever will be the covenant of brotherhood, right? Forever will be the covenant of brotherhood because we believe in being brethren one to another, right? Going back to Hebrews 13:1, if you could read that again.
You want me to put it up on the screen or just go ahead and read it?
No, you can go ahead and read it if you want to.
Hebrews 13:1. Let brotherly love continue.
Let brotherly love continue. Read verse 2. Matter of fact, can you pull that up on the screen, verse 2?
Yeah.
It's a lot. I know I said you can just go ahead and read it, but I know we didn't read that one earlier.
Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares.
Right. So you got to remember that, we never know who we're dealing with or entertaining, man. But you always got to be in the spirit of brotherly love, man. You see a brother, you don't know him, hey, and treat him as a brother that you've known for your whole entire life, right? Again, that's not to say be a fool, right? Because people got to remember everything in context. The brother Azrael was doing a lesson on Thursday going into not being offensive. And we were covering something that Paul was covering in 1 Corinthians 10. Some people could take Paul's understanding as if he's forbidding people to eat unlawful foods for the sake of not wanting to offend anyone. No, that's not how it is. You got to have wisdom. You got to apply wisdom to every situation. The same thing with this. I'm not saying, and brothers of the screen are not affirming that we should let everybody into your home, right? And you should let everybody, you know what I'm saying, see your goodly things. No. But what this is saying is always be in the spirit to be brotherly and show brotherly love because you don't never know who you're entertaining. You could be entertaining angels that you're unaware of, right? And you don't know it. So you got to account for these things like the brother Azrael was saying the other day. You're going to have to account for some of the things that you do. You're going to have to, not some, you're going to have to account for all of the things that you do. So you should always be in the spirit to make sure that you're furthering the covenant of brotherhood, right? Let me get an example. Can you go to the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, starting at verse number 6? Excuse me, verse number 5. But just keep it big. You don't got to click on the verse in particular. Just let it play because we're gonna.
Also, the entertaining angels, the law also tells us to not turn a blind eye to the homeless, right? It could be an angel seeking test to see if you're gonna turn a blind eye. You might not actually have any money, but that don't mean not to speak. That don't mean to act like you're invisible, right? That's what the heathen do. The heathen will act like our people are invisible out there on the street and just walk past us. They'll treat a dog better than they treat us. We're not supposed to treat our brothers and our sisters like dogs, man. They're all humans. They're all children of God. So, don't turn a blind eye to them. You never know who you're entertaining.
Right. Con. That again, that can't go with. That can't, I guess you could say, be said any more better, right? For lack of proper English, right? But if you could read, Azrael, read this starting at verse number 5, right? Because this is going into what you went into the other day.
Verse 5. Who then is Paul and who is Apollos but ministers by whom ye believed, even as the Lord gave to every man?
Con, right? Who are these brothers? Keep reading.
Verse 6. I have planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase.
Exactly. So the reason I'm again, going into this is because, like the brother said the other day, and I just want to reiterate it or piggyback, or I guess you could stay still the brother's talking point, because it's a talking point that kind of stuck with me. Is well, that's a talking point that has been on my spirit for the last month and a half. But when the brother brought it out the other day, it gave me a direct correlation to exactly what I've been feeling. You know what I'm saying? Not as if I haven't seen these scriptures before, but as in using these scriptures to perfectly explain how it should be. We need to understand our roles in the kingdom, right? Our roles is some people may plant, some people may water. At the end of the day, you got to know the Lord is going to get the increase. The same thing with, the division about camps. Some people feel like, well, their camp is, the foundation of every camp that you see now, right? So that may have been the planting, right? But a lot of these camps are doing the watering that we need to help wake the people up. If all these seeds have been planted, then allow people to help come along and help you water the plants, right? Because it's a lot of them, right? We have a lot of people out here that need seeds planted. So it's going to take more than just one body or one part of the body to get that job done, right? If you can go to darn, I didn't have it written down, but it just came to me because I want to bring this out. Let me pull this up real quick. I want to say it's not. Hold on, let me see. Romans chapter 12. Romans chapter 12. I didn't have it written down, Salakia, but it just hit my head because it goes into what we're speaking on. I'll read it. This is the book of Romans chapter 12. Let's start at verse number 3, right? So this is Romans chapter 12 and starting at 3. It says, "For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith." So we shouldn't be getting too high on ourselves in these times, man. Because who are we? Who are we? We're just mortal men. The brothers on the screen could be like Paul, one Apollos, but the Most High is gonna water. You know what I'm saying? Who are you to think of yourself more highly than what the Most High made you to be, right? And that's a lot of the contention between our brothers and sisters who don't subscribe to camp doctrine, right? Who don't want to follow, any camps or congregation organizations. There may be individualites is what we call them, right? Individualites. But that's a lot of the problem too, is because sometimes in these congregations, you may see people, kind of parade themselves around to be more mightier than what they are, you know what I'm saying, in the eyes of the Most High, right? And we have to get out of that spirit too. Just because you're somebody with a large following, just because you're somebody that planted seeds in a lot of people, don't sit up here and start parading yourself around as if, you're a class A celebrity, right? Let's leave the celebrity antics to the world, right? Let's keep the brotherly love in Israel, right? Let's learn how to, act like a brother and be lowly like a brother at all times, right? Let's read verse number 4. It says, "For as we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office, so we," verse 5, "so we, being many, are one body in Christ, and everyone members of another," right? Verse number 6, "Having then gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith." Verse number 7, "Or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching." Verse number 8, "Or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth, with diligence. He that showeth mercy, with cheerfulness," right? "Let love be without dissimulation," which is considered being fake, right? No fake love. "Abhor that which is evil, cleave to that which is good," right? And I'm going to read this last verse, verse 10. It says, "Be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another." So we are all members of the same body at the end of the day. This is not a video to show the standpoint of what covenant we believe that we're under, new covenant or old covenant. This is a video to show that we believe that we're always going to be under the covenant of brotherhood, right? Loving each other as the Lord commanded us to love one another, right? If you can pull up another precept for me, go to the book of Matthew, chapter 22, and start at verse number 30. Start at verse number 37. You can keep it big, though.
Come, Matthew 22, verse 37.
You can read 36. You can read 36, too, to just give context.
Come.
Read 36 for context.
Master, which is the greatest commandment in the law? Verse 37. Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Now, we have a precept for this. 1 John 5:3, where I really started verse number 2. Matter of fact, and you don't got to pull that up. I'll read it. I'll read it real quick. This is 1 John chapter 5 and verse number 2. It says, By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. Verse 3, For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. So to love the Lord is to keep his commandments, right? Now keep reading on that Matthew 22 real quick.
Come, verse 38. This is the first and great commandment.
So the first and great commandment, just like it mentions in Exodus 20, is thou shalt not have no other gods before thee. How do you put other gods before you? You don't keep the commandments of the Lord. Because if you keep the commandments of the Lord, then you know there are certain things that you can't do and partake in, because those things will be reverenced as your God above the Most High God, who gave you these laws for inheritance and for a custom, right? For a language, for I guess you could say a statue and memorial forever, to serve as a covenant of our relationship with him, right? So keep reading on that.
Come. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
So when you read 1 John 5:2, where it says, By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments. That's how you know we're loving our neighbor as ourselves, when we're loving the Most High and keeping his commandments. Because, again, piggybacking off of the brother Azrael, he did a lesson a long time ago. Well, he pulled out an example in a lesson a long time ago where he used hangers to show that what Christ says next, on these hang all the law and the prophets, right? Loving your neighbor, you won't commit adultery. You won't steal from him. You won't kill him. You won't covet what he has. You won't, bear false witness on him. You won't lie to him. You know what I'm saying? You'll correct them and rebuke them, right? All of these things go into loving your neighbor as yourself, right? So we have to remember the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God when we're dealing with one another. How does the law tell me I should treat my brother, right? How does the law tell me I should communicate with my brother? How does the law tell me I should handle my brother's secrets? How does the law tell me that I should handle, being in the same presence as my brother's wife? All of these things are good advice, not necessarily good advice. All of these things are commandments or good questions to ask, so you can back them with commandments to show how you should love your brother, right? You shouldn't show your brother hate, by saying, oh, forget that man. Shouldn't show your brother hate by saying, oh, we don't fool with that brother. Because there's another precept that I want the brother to bring up. Can you go to 1 John chapter 4?
Yeah.
1 John chapter 4. All of these, I'm just reading these scriptures to just kind of paint a picture. You know what I'm saying? Think of this like Picasso art. It's kind of like, I guess you could say, what's the word for it? When something's not all the way put together. It's not it's like a chaotic art in a sense. I don't want to use the word chaos, but I guess you could say deformed, but it's still kind of like the same thing. It's like a deformed art, right? Where you may go here, you may go there, you may put a little here, you may put a little there, but that's how we understand the scriptures. Here a little, there a little, to paint one big picture. Go down to verse number start at 18, if I'm not mistaken. Scroll down to 18 real quick.
I think the brother was talking about abstract art.
Abstract art. There it is. Con. That's the word. Con. So let me start at verse number 19, actually. And it says, 1 John 4:19, we love him because he first loved us, right? Verse number 20. If a man say, I love the Most High, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? Right? These are precepts to remember. Verse 21. And this commandment have we from him, that he who loveth God loveth his brother also. All of these are precepts that we have to show how we should be dealing with one another under this covenant of brotherhood, right? You can't hate your brother, and you hate your brother through actions. You can hate your brother through verbal words too, because words do have power, right? Words have power. We done lessons on the power of the tongue before, going into understanding, how your tongue could be used as weapons of warfare, right? But words do have power. So you have to know the power that you possess within you and not hate your brother. You can't say, oh, F that man. Or when I say F somebody, I mean it. You know what I'm saying? If a brother has offended you, there's a requirement to go handle that issue. I want to say that's in if you could pull that up, and dang, Matthew 17. I think that's where it is. Matthew 17. No, that's not 17. Salakia. Hold on. I don't think I wrote that down. Thought I did. Salakia, hold on real quick, because I thought I wrote that down, but I didn't. Concerning Con, if you could find if you could find that real quick, I don't know where my mind was when I wrote that down, because this is nowhere near what I was on the path of. It's that precept in Matthew where it talks about handling a brother that won't hear the matter. You know what I'm saying? Treat him as a heathen. I thought I had that precept written down, but I didn't write it down.
18:17.
You said what now?
18 and 17.
18 and 17. Okay. Dang, I was wrong. I said I knew it was 17, but I should have wrote that thing down like I started to. Pecan. So we can really start at number 15.
Con.
If I'm mistaken. Let me see. Okay, yeah. 18 and 15. Con.
Matthew 18 and 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, gain thy brother.
Right, Con. So this is to a point where, you know what I'm saying, where we have situations like, when you deal with, I guess you could say, public, right? Public rebuke, right? So again, a few weeks ago, there was a video that was surfacing around with our brothers from the Believers of the Way feeling a way about what our brothers did with the IUIC. Again, this is not the place. I'm not sitting up here. I rebuke the spirit of, like, you know what I'm saying, like gossiping to an extent, because I'm not here to cause confusion between any congregation or organization. I'm just using this to show how I received it and show how, you know what I'm saying, it can apply to the situation of understanding how to conduct yourself with your brother, right? So it says, if thy brother trespass against thee, tell him the matter him alone. And if he hears it, he's gained a brother. But keep reading.
Verse 16. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established.
Con. So it's always good to have witnesses, right? That's why it's also a law that says you should not bear false witness against thy neighbor, right? Because in the law in Deuteronomy, I think it's in 21, it says if you're found as a false witness, whatever you would have wanted done to the person that you were lying on is going to be done unto you, right? That's not brotherly love being a false witness, man. Because the Most High hates that one. In Proverbs 6, what does it mention? It says, a false witness that soweth lies, or he that soweth discord among his brethren, right? It says both of those things in that chapter. So we got to be mindful of these things that are being brought forth because, again, all of this is under the covenant of brotherhood. Let's keep reading.
Con. Verse 17, and if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican.
Right. So you got to treat brothers that's like a heathen when they don't want to hear. You know what I'm saying? When brothers are too prideful to receive anything or too prideful to be a brother unto you, especially if you have or if they have offended you, you know what I'm saying? Then you're supposed to treat brothers as a heathen after that, right? But again, this is for me to say that if you're a brother and you listening to this message, right? If you're a sister and you listening to this message, don't be the brother or sister that don't want to hear how you may offended a hat. Salakia, let me rephrase that. Don't be the brother or sister that does not want to hear how you may have offended someone, right? You always got to be ready to, I guess you could say, hear the matter, right? Because at the end of the day, we all have a duty and responsibility to be brothers or sisters one to another, right? Again, Hebrews 13:1, let brotherly love continue. The same thing with 1 John 4:20, you know what I'm saying? Or 4:21, right? We have to always be ready to be brothers and sisters one to another. I want to go one more place real quick. Let me go back to my notes real quick because I had it written down. Can you go to the book of Malachi chapter 2 and start at verse number 1. Malachi 2:1.
Con, the book of Malachi, chapter 2 and verse number 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you.
Con. So this was written to the priest of the Lord, right? Let's read verse 2 and then we're gonna jump down to 7 and then we'll read from 7 on down. Keep reading.
Con, if ye will not hear, and if ye will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart.
Right. So you will be cursed if you don't glorify the name of the Lord. How did the priests glorify the name of the Lord? By doing the duties that the priests were commanded to do by the Lord, right? To do the offerings, to offer the oblations, you know what I'm saying? To keep the temple, things of that nature, to wear the garments, right? All of those is how you glorify the name of the Lord, by obeying his name. It is not glory to not obey him. So it has to be the only way you can glorify the Lord is through obeying, right? And what does it say in Sirach 43? I want to say it says, if you glorify the name of the Lord, exalt him as often as you can, right? But let's read what happened. Oh, wait, not verse 7. Oh, yeah, start at verse 7.
Con, for the priest's lips should keep knowledge, and they should seek the law at his mouth, for he is the messenger of the Lord of hosts.
Con, the lips of the priest were supposed to speak the law, right? People were supposed to come to the priest for the things concerning the law, right? The meticulous, the fine print, the fine details of the finer points of the law, right? Because they were the messengers of the Lord. But keep reading.
Con, Verse number 8. But ye are departed out of the way. Ye have caused many to stumble at the law. Ye have corrupted the covenant of Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
Now, the reason that I'm reading this is because it's going to explain itself in verse 10, right? But let's read verse 9.
Verse number 9. Therefore have I also made you contemptible and base before all the people, according as ye have not kept my laws, but have been partial in the law.
So we're dealing with partiality. Now, granted, there's a time and place to be partial, right? But not when it pertains to the law of the Most High God. If there's a judgment that's supposed to be given out for something, during that time, you shouldn't have been somebody that says, well, maybe let's not do it, right? Even Christ didn't offer partiality when it came to stoning the woman. I think that was taken in adultery, right? Even Christ didn't do partiality. What did he say? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. But see, the people realized they were guiltless. I mean, they were guilty. Why is that? Because again, even going back to the origins, we have departed from the law of the Most High God, right? Now let's read verse 10.
Come on, verse 10. Have we not all one Father?
Have we not all one Father, right? Keep reading.
Has not one God created us?
Hey, what is that in 1 Corinthians 10? How all of our fathers have passed under the cloud. We all have one Father. We all were, I guess you could say, subservient to the same God, the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Keep reading.
Con, why do we deal treacherously every man against his brother by profaning the covenant of our fathers?
Why do we deal treacherously with our brothers? Why? Why do you have brothers, you know what I'm saying, they hate brothers in today's time? Why do you have brothers saying they can't deal with certain brothers in today's time? Now, again, the only time a situation where you can't really or shouldn't really be dealing with a brother is if he refuses to hear how he offended you in some shape, form, or fashion, right? You just got to kind of wish that brother Godspeed, you know what I'm saying, and just kind of like go your separate way, but not to an extent where it's like, okay, now you're dealing treacherously with him. You're just following the wisdom that Christ gave you in Matthew 18, right? But why are we doing this without brothers having done nothing to us, right? You got brothers that come under a different camp name or a different, you know what I'm saying, or they may not be in the camp congregation. They may just be an individual. And you got brothers acting like they just, you know what I'm saying, stole from them in front of their face. The reason that I wanted to read this is because of what I seen on the video, the live video between the brother Hassad and the brother Captain Tazariot of ISUPK, right? The comment section is some of the worst place you can be for a foreign Israelite. And by foreign, I don't mean like, you know what I'm saying, like you don't know you're Israelite. By foreign, I mean you're just not a part of that body, that church, that congregation, organization, whatever. But a foreign Israelite on another, I guess you could say, another organization's platform, the comment section is the worst place that you can be, because all you see in that comment section are people who are just sowing discord, right? Commenting, insulting the man, disrespecting the man. You don't know this man, but you disagree with his doctrine, so you feel like that man is everything under the sun but a brother unto you. And that is where we go back to understanding 1 Corinthians 3, right? Some plant, some water, but the Most High is the one who's going to give the increase, right? Let's go to the book real quick of 1 Corinthians chapter 4. I promise we only got 2 more precepts. Well, 2 more points to go to. 2 more points to go to. 1 Corinthians 4, and then I got 1 more precept, and after that, you know what I'm saying, we going to wrap this thing up.
From the top.
Scroll down, because this is somewhere the brother Azrael went to the other day as well. Go back down. Wait, go back up. You went too far. Let me see where I want to start at. Right. Start at verse number. Wait, scroll up some more. Right, stop right there. Start at verse number 5. Start at verse number 5. Matter of fact, Salakia, start at verse 4. Salakia, start at verse 4.
For I know nothing by myself, yet am I not hereby justified. But he that judgeth me is the Lord.
Con. Hey, I know nothing by myself, man. Brothers know nothing of themselves. Everything that we know, everything that we've learned has come by will of the Most High. It's the same thing with every congregation. A lot of people think that, oh, they found this knowledge out and the Lord was only dealing with them. So not every congregation thinks like this. I'm just speaking on conversations I've had, things I've heard, things I've seen, right? Or been around to partake of. Sometimes people think that, the Lord is only dealing with you. And a lot of times it causes you to think that everything that you know came by your diligence, your prudence, which, again, it's a beautiful thing for brothers to diligently study the scriptures, right? Because it's commanded in the law for a king to read the law every single day of his life. So if you're carrying yourself as a king should, there should not let a day go by where you're not reading, giving yourself over to understanding the prophecies, mysteries, judgments, the faith and mercies of the Most High God in his law, right? The problem is that nowadays some people just feel as if they learned this for themselves, and everything that they got is for themselves, and it came by themselves. And we have to get out that mindset, right? As if the truth can only be manifested through you. That's not brotherly love. That's not keeping the covenant of brotherly love, right? Let's keep reading.
Con. Therefore, judge nothing before the time until the Lord come,
Right.
who both will bring the light to the hidden things of darkness, and will make manifest the counsels of the hearts. And then shall every man have praise of God.
Right. There's going to be a day where, you know what I'm saying, everything is going to be corrected. That's Zephaniah 3 and 9. The Most High is going to have a day where everything will be put into perspective, and we will be restored the truth of every single matter, right? That's going to be a part of that, in my opinion, the new covenant being ushered in, because there's going to be a doctrine that nobody will differ from. We won't have difference of opinion. We won't have difference of anything. There's going to be a day when that time comes. But to break the covenant of brotherhood because you feel like that day has come is terrible, right? And I'm not saying that you're breaking that covenant because you feel like this prophecy was already fulfilled in Zephaniah 3 and 9, but rather that the truth is only going to be manifested by your understanding of it. And that's not true, right? Verse number 6.
Con. Verse number 6. And these things, brethren, I have in a figure transferred to myself and to
Mm-hmm.
Apollos for your sakes, that ye might learn in us not to think of men above that which is written, that no one of you be puffed up for one against another.
Right. Let's not puff ourselves up, man, one against another. You know what I'm saying? We got to remember who's the captain of this cruise ship that we ride on. And that's the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You know what I'm saying? We're just passengers. We're passengers on the cruise ship. Not everybody stays on the same floor. And if you're working on the ship, not everybody has the same position. Not everybody stays in the same room, right? But it's one big cruise ship that we're on, the cruise ship to salvation. We're trying to go back to Jerusalem, and we got to sail across the Atlantic to get there, right? We got to take these straits and we got to take these narrows to get to our land. And the only way we can get there is by understanding that, hey, there's one captain of this ship, and that's the Most High God. None of us are the captain. You may feel like you control your floor, you control your deck, you run your deck. That's cool, but understand there are many different decks that's on a cruise ship, right? You got the promenade deck, you got the main deck, you got the deck with all the suites on it. You know what I'm saying? You got the lower deck, or what they call the lower level. You know what I'm saying, on cruise ships. All of these things are a part of one big body, like we read in Romans 12. But the brotherhood should never be about the truth is you didn't learn the truth from me, or your truth or your understanding on this topic is different from my understanding on this topic, right? So let's act like, you know what I'm saying, you're not in the truth. Or let's act like, we can't be brothers unto you. We can't teach together. We can't fellowship together because what I believe is different from what you believe in certain things. That's foolish in my opinion. I'm giving my opinion. Why is it foolish in my opinion? Because like I said earlier, Ecclesiastes, matter of fact, let's pull this up real quick. Wait. Before we go to that, can you read verse 7? So like it.
For who maketh thee to differ from another? And what hast thou that thou didst not receive? Now, if thou didst receive it, why dost thou glory as if thou hast not received it?
Right, man. It's almost like Moses smiting the rock, right? Instead of speaking to it like the Most High commanded him to. Because you want that glory as if the Lord didn't tell you what to do. So now you glorying in it like, hey, man, I did this, right? Brothers don't want to give credit. The brothers only want to give credit to the Most High for their perspective and their understanding, but it's almost as if, you know what I'm saying, they're talking as if they got it from themselves, man. And we got to remember the Lord gave us all these things. The Lord is behind everything that you see. The Lord controls all the spirits. I think people forget that. I think people truly forget that the Lord controls all the spirits. So if a spirit is on a brother to do something different than what you're doing, and I'm not talking about breaking the commandments. I'm talking about if a brother chooses to say, hey, I want to start my own organization because I just feel differently about this. And when I do it, it puts me in the spirit of, you know, division, and I don't want us to be divided. I want us to be in unity, but at the same time, hey, who are you to say that, hey, the Lord's not dealing with that? Who knows? There's going to be a day when that time comes that all things will be judged and corrected, right? Like we just read. Judge not before the time, who will both bring to light the hidden things of darkness and will make manifest the counsel of the hearts, right? But now let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13 real quick.
Come. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13.
Con. You can we're gonna read 13 and 14.
Con. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man.
Read verse 14, please.
Yeah, my computer is going slow. Verse 14, for God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Con. So the Most High God is going to bring everything into judgment, whether it be good or evil. But the reason I wanted the brother to read verse 13 is simply because the conclusion of the whole matter for us is to fear the Most High and keep his commandments, right? The problem is we have a lot of worshipers of men nowadays, and that's why I brought up the point about the comment section. The comment section is one of the most evil places that I've ever seen Israelites behave, right? You see a lot of ignorant, disrespectful, ill-knowledgeable comments in the section when you see people disagree with their camps or their leaders' doctrine, or you see people are having a debate about something, right? It's vanity, it's foolish, and that causes division. That's not the brotherhood, right? That is not the brotherhood. The covenant of brotherhood should be built on, again, dwelling together in unity, keeping the main thing the main thing. Long as you agree and I agree that we the real Jews, we are the children of Israel. Long as you agree that I agree that, hey, we got to keep the commandments of God to receive salvation and enter eternal life through our faith in who the world calls Christ. Everything else could be ironed out. Like I said, in my opinion, I don't even speak for the brothers on the screen. I just speak for me, right? And the reason I say I speak for me, because again, I've been in situations, and brothers on the screen have been in situations where certain things about our doctrine may differ, yet we still end up having a good time. Certain things about our doctrine may differ, yet it didn't stop us from being able to fellowship and dwell together in unity from one over another. We don't sit up here and say, well, y'all not learning under us, so, you know what I'm saying, we don't want to cause confusion to the people who do follow us. Because our biggest thing is teaching people that, hey, there's many sects of Israelites, right? Every Israelite doesn't have the same office. Every Israelite doesn't have the same awakening. Every Israelite won't have the same understanding of certain things, right? But the certain things that we should understand is that we should be keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? And part of keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, not part of it, but in your keeping of the laws, statutes, and commandments, you'll be fulfilling the law of brotherhood. But you got to understand the law of brotherhood is not limited to Israelites that you routinely fellowship with, right? That's even those outside of your body who are counted for your neighbor in treating a stranger, right? Angels unaware, like the brother Azrael said, those could be your homeless brothers and sisters. If you're turning a blind eye to them, it don't matter if you don't have anything to give at all. You know what I'm saying? Don't stiffen your neck not to look at them. You don't know who that could be, right? And I got one more precept. Let's go to Luke 9:49.
Let me see. Put it back up.
Salaki, I said one. I meant two. Let's start at Luke 9:49 though. We're gonna read these two quickly. I told brothers earlier that I wasn't trying to do an hour long, but Salakia, because
I'm about to quit.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here, man. Like I say, stuff just be coming sometimes when you get on the lessons, man, and you just start talking. I definitely need to do a better job of sticking straight to the notes, but stuff sometimes come up, and you can't help but bring it up, bro, because it goes right into what you're saying. But let's read verses 49 and 50.
Khan, Book of Luke, chapter 9:49. And John answered and said, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and we forbade him, because he followeth not with us.
Right. So they forbade him because he wasn't following with them, right? And that's what you see a lot going on today. People think that, John was moving in the spirit, man, because he did away with people who wasn't with them. You know what I'm saying? Right? Keep reading though.
50. And Jesus said unto him, Forbid him not, for he that is not against us is for us.
Right. If you're not against me, man, you for me. How can you be against me personally? How can you be against Brother Yeshaya? Right? You against me is if you're teaching people not to keep the commandments of the Lord. That's how you against me. But if you're striving diligently to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, and law, statutes, and if you're striving to keep the law, statutes, and commandments in spirit and in truth diligently, then you're not against me. You're for me, because that's what I strive to teach our people, to turn back to the law of God, to keep these commandments. That way we can get up out of here. That way our captivity can be turned on our oppressors, those who oppress us. Right? That's all I want for the end of the day. That's what the saints of God are patiently waiting for. He that led us into captivity to go into captivity. He that killed us with the sword to be killed with the sword. Right? The only way I can do that, though, is do my part in being brotherly, showing brotherly love, letting brotherly love continue, understanding that it takes a lot of us to do the same thing in order for the job to get done. The problem is people want to be on a different page so bad. They want to be that Israelite. They want to be that it guy. They want to be that it camp. They want to be the people with all the knowledge. They want to be the people that is home to 100% truth, right? And that's the problem. We have to start seeing that this truth as something that spreads like a wildfire. And it's going to take a lot of firefighters from a lot of different departments and states and cities to put this fire out. You know what I'm saying? Now let's go to the last precept I had, which was 1 Peter 2 and 17.
So you really meant 3.
Well, I said, yeah, like I said, it was supposed to be 2 precepts, but then I had to go read.
No, it was supposed to be 1 more.
And then it was supposed to, yeah. So, hey, my math a little off.
It's the number of completion, I guess.
Hey, 7, man. What?
No, I was saying, well, you know how people argue 3. If it said 3 times and it's of importance. But
yeah.
You said 1 Peter what?
1 Peter 2 and 17. And the 10 is represented as a complete number of days in the scriptures.
Yeah.
So, but you can leave it like that, right? But 1 Peter 2 and 17, man, it says, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the king, right? So the covenant of brotherhood, man, we got to understand that we all have different parts, different bodies. We all have, I guess you could say, a lot of us have different understandings of the same scriptures that we read. It's okay. In my opinion, I feel like the simple things can be worked out, man. I feel like the simple things shouldn't stop you from being brotherly or showing brotherly love one to another. I don't agree with the disrespectful comments that I see in comment sections about, brothers and their understanding and their doctrine, and the belittling of these brothers and the insult to their intelligence that I see from Israel, because nobody does it better than Israel. You know what I'm saying? We have to get on the same page about being brothers, being sisters, being about the community. You know what I'm saying? Stop being every man for himself. Stop being every camp congregation for yourself. Stop being, you know what I'm saying, every teacher leader for itself. We got to start thinking about the nation of people that we fellowship with, right? Because every camp could, you and your camp, and this is not specific to any camp, so Salakia, this is not specific to any camp, but just because you're not affiliated with any other Israelite group does not mean you don't represent other Israelites. So you got to start holding yourself accountable to the things that you do and say, especially in public. And there was a precept that I had for that, but I'm not going to read it. I'm going to stay true to what I just told the brother, right? But at the end of the day, man, the covenant of brotherly love, right? The covenant of brotherhood is to always remember that, hey, the Most High is pleasing in the eye of the Most High for us to dwell together in unity. So if we can focus on keeping the main thing, right? Eliminate all this vanity, this vainglory, this strife, all this minute and petty stuff, we can get on the same page as a nation, But the main reason that I wanted to show that clip that I did with the brother Hassad from Genesis and the brother Captain Tazariot from ISUPK is to show that if you go back and watch that debate, or not debate, that if you go back and watch that discussion, right, you'll see that it was brotherly love all throughout. The only division you'll see will be from the comment section. Even after Hassad got off the live, Captain Tazariot didn't have nothing bad to say about the brother, right? Because he said, to be fair, I won't say nothing about him while he's not here, and that's how it should be. But the followers of these leaders are the problem. And there's a lot more brothers like that that's in the comments, and sisters like that too, that are being too much followers of men. And we got to get out that spirit, and we got to, again, ensure that the brotherhood, the covenant of brotherhood stays alive. But I don't got nothing else to add. The brothers got something to add to that?
Man, it's a good video, right on time, man. You see these feast days about to roll in, and it's the type of spirit we need to be in, right? The spirit of brotherhood and nothing else, man. All the other folly, all the other nonsense is what we call fat, right? And there's a saying, man, that saying, man, hey, man, cut out the fat, and we only want that good tender meat. Pause, no Diddy, but
Madness, bro.
But if you got eyes and ears to hear, man, we only want the good portion, man, and all that other stuff is throwaway, right? And so that's what we got to focus on, man, and throw that stuff away and focus on what we need to focus on, which is keeping the main thing, like the brother said. But mighty lesson.
Man, I do got something I want to add, man, to a wise word. Hold on wrong second. Part of me was like, brother, don't add it. Brother, don't add it. Just make another lesson. But it's a Sabbath day. We ain't got nothing but time on the Sabbath day, man. Ain't no need to rush. So I'm a add on to the brother's wise words, man. I want y'all to take a look at this real quick, right? You can see I searched house, different themed rooms, right? So with that being said, there's a Japanese theme room, an airplane room, right? This room is a baseball room, and you may feel like a room looks better than the next. It may give you a better vibe than the next. How many of us have rented out an Airbnb and the Airbnb came themed? And when you go in there with your friends or your family, everybody's picking the room they want, right? We remember those MTV and those reality shows in the early 2000s. They get into the big house and everybody picks the room they want, right? They may feel like their room is the best, right? Now stay with me. 1 Corinthians 3:11 says, for other foundation can no man lay than that is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Meaning, you get a lot of brothers that love their room so much, they're mad that another brother comes and puts their stuff in their room, right? But I want to let y'all know, even though you got a room up, you got to understand all the rooms in the house were built on the same foundation, which is Jesus Christ. Verse 12, now if any man build upon this foundation, gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, stubble, right? Verse 13 says, every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work or of what sort it is, right? Because you cannot add unto the foundation of the Most High God. Now, if you look at Salaki, I didn't mean to say it like that. The foundation is already built, so you cannot have your own foundation, right? The foundation is of Christ. So when you look at what a foundation is, you might say, we don't build our houses like they did back then. We don't build it on rock. We do build it on rock, but what we build it on is something that is called liquid rocks, right? Which we will call concrete, right? We build our houses on foundations, right, of concrete so that our house doesn't move, man, right? Which brings me to my next precept, right? Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these things saying of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. Meaning you're not going to move, man. You know what I'm saying? Meaning you're not going nowhere because you built your house upon the sayings of Christ. Keep that in mind. I'm going to go to this next scripture. You built your house upon the sayings of Christ. This is why 2 John says this, 2 John 1:9. Whosoever transgresses and abideth not in the doctrine of Christ hath not God. He that abideth in the doctrine of Christ, he hath both the Father and the Son. And like the brother was going over, man, you could claim that you have a different doctrine and, oh, we're the camp of so-and-so, and this is our doctrine. Our doctrine is named this. Or you could say we're the congregation of this, and we've been teaching this doctrine for forever. So if anybody else teach this, they're building on our foundation. That's not how it goes, right? You may have a baseball room. You may have an airplane room, a Japanese room, theme room, but all these rooms belong to the same house, which are built on the same foundation. That is not your doctrine, because you should be in the doctrine of Christ. Everybody in the house, everybody's theme room should be in the doctrine of Christ. So if you're not in the doctrine of Christ, brother, you could take your camp or congregation or church doctrine and go somewhere else and get up off of this foundation. And if a brother wants to come into your room to play the video game, into your room, sis, to read the book, if a brother wants to come into your sister, want to come into your room, help you clean it up, you should let them. Why? Because it's not yours in the first place. You got a room, it's themed, but all the rooms belong to the same house, and that's the house of God. And all the rooms in the house are on the same foundation, which is the doctrine of Christ. We're all one and the same, man. Even if you have favorites, or even if you have a different vibe, we're all one and the same, man. But I wanted to say mighty lesson, and yeah, that's all I had to add. I yield.
Con. Again, we're all under the same umbrella, man. I don't know how much more you can say it than what the brother just so eloquently stated. Both brothers just so eloquently stated, man. But Con, we're the hopeful elect, brothers. If anybody, again, we open our doors to fellowship, intermingling, not with any and everybody, but if you would definitely love to, come sup with us, please be welcome, man. Contact us, communicate with us, hit us up. This ain't no lesson. I'm not saying that because we desperately need, more people to fellowship with us. That's not why I said that. I'm saying that because, we want to always set the record straight with us. We can't speak for every camp, congregation, or organization, but we know how we are. We know who, how we roll. And the only thing that matters the most to me, especially in these times, man, is the community, dog. That's all I'm for is the community. I just want to see the community rise, the community thrive, because we need it. That's the only way we're gonna get out of here, man, is if we all can, you know what I'm saying, work together, right? Some things, of course, is gonna be thorns on our side, but man, we gotta, you know what I'm saying, be willing to pluck that thorn out, man, and focus on the main thing, right? But Shabbat Shalom, man. Giving all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Most High willing, you all have a peaceful Sabbath day of rest. Most High willing, your working week coming up, starting tomorrow, is great for the next 6 days, right? But hey, honors to those going out to do the work of the Lord. I continue to pray that all brothers and sisters go out and do the work of the Lord. That's not necessarily saying on the street corners, but anywhere you have an opportunity to be a light to somebody, be that, right? Be exactly that, nothing less, right? But remember, if you're not gathering, you're scattering. So gather together, O ye nation not desired, right? Always gather. But with that, I say shalom.